What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Oscar. For those who bring you video today, like, comment, subscribe, click that bell icon, don't forget to share with your friends. So today's topic is, are carbs bad for you? If you're someone who's trying to lose weight, you've probably heard that you have to cut out carbs out of your diet. First of all, let me start by saying that there are three necessary macronutrients that you need in your diet. Macronutrients, what these are, they are protein, fats, and carbohydrates. These are the three main sources of food that you need in your diet. So you have to be eating proteins, you have to be eating fats, you have to be eating carbohydrates. You shouldn't be avoiding any of these. Of course, obviously you want to be avoiding things like saturated fat because it's not good for your health. And you also want to be avoiding fatty proteins, not because protein itself is bad, but because if you compare maybe a lean meat to a more fatty meat, you know, the fatty meat has more saturated fat in it. There's more fat content in that, and with fat comes more calories. With saturated fat come other factors and side effects. Overeating fatty foods like that can lead to diabetes and other side effects. I'm no medical professional, but those are just things that you have to be aware of. But are carbs bad for you? Short answer is no, they're not. Long answer is, well, what types of carbs are you talking about? Because there's three main carbs we can consume. There's simple carbohydrates, which are things like sugar, things that are mainly processed. There's complex carbohydrates, which are things like wheats, grains, whole foods, things like that. And then there's fiber, which fiber has so many benefits in digestion. Fiber is really satiating, so it helps you from overeating, especially if you're trying to lose weight. You want to make sure you're not overeating. Short answer is carbs are not bad for you. The thing that people mean when they say carbs are bad for you, they're talking about things like donuts, chips, processed foods. They're not talking about things like whole foods, fruits, vegetables, wheats, grains, oatmeal, all these things, because those, you never hear someone say, oh, I'm fat because I'm eating so many fruits and vegetables. Most of the time people are overweight or fat, or they might not be overweight or fat, they might be underweight, but their health isn't their best. So you can still be underweight and your health isn't good. You can still have high blood pressure, high blood sugar. You can still have all these other things going on even if you are underweight, and that can all be caused by overeating these processed foods, these simple carbohydrates that you really don't need. Like I said, donuts aren't good for you. Chips, all these foods that are processed, they're not doing you any good. Whenever people say that you have to cut out carbs, what they really mean is that you have to cut out all the junk, because like I said, you never really hear anyone say, hey, I'm overweight, or I'm unhealthy because I'm eating so many fruits and vegetables and I'm getting so much fiber and I'm eating so much whole wheats, whole grains, whole foods. You never hear that. Like, how idiotic does that sound? No one's ever going to say that. If anything, those people are going to be in their healthiest. So whenever people say you have to cut out carbs, no, you don't. Obviously, there's some other factors that go into it. If you're cutting out carbs completely, that is not a smart thing to do. Not only because carbs are good for you, they're the main source of fuel for your body. If you're someone who likes to work out, you're gonna need carbs. I know people always talk about keto and all this stuff, but keto isn't optimal when it comes to lifting, because your body wants to focus, wants to prioritize the carbohydrates you're eating. Whenever you're lifting weights, your muscles are using energy, right? This energy comes from a lot of different things. I'm no expert, but whenever you eat carbs, those carbs are broken down and it stored as glycogen in your muscles. Whenever you're working out, your muscles are using this glycogen as energy. And also whenever you're doing high intensity type training, your body doesn't have time to break down fats. Your body has to go into more fast forms of fuel, just like carbs. That's why they say carbs are a really fast form of fuel. That's why they say carbs are a quick form of energy whenever you eat them. Your body isn't meant to be in a state of ketosis, which people always talk about whenever they want to go keto. Your body mainly wants to use carbs because carbs is the main source of fuel for your body. your brain uses glucose, which primarily comes from carbs. Whenever the body is really smart, so the body is going to find other forms of fuel. You have your carbs that you have to go through, then you have your fats that you go through, and then you have your protein, which is the muscle mass that you have on you. So you never want to get to that point. Keto isn't the best way to go if you're trying to be someone who's active. Your body isn't meant to be in a state of ketosis 24/7. Your body can go into a state of ketosis when it's necessary, when you're not receiving enough food, you're not receiving enough nutrition. That's because our bodies hold on to a lot of body fat. That's why it's there for emergency situations. Whenever our bodies are starving, that's how our body has adapted to be able to survive prolonged durations of starvation. So your body isn't meant to be in ketosis. Your body wants to use carbohydrates as its main source of fuel. And like I said, if you're someone who's trying to be active, who wants to lift weights, who wants to be active in general, you want to make sure you're receiving enough carbs, because fats aren't meant to fuel your body when it comes to more intense type of activities like weightlifting. If you're trying to be an athlete, you're going to be running a lot, high intensity training. Fats aren't the most efficient way to go. And also you're going to be feeling just sluggish. But just to keep it short, like I said, you don't want to be avoiding carbohydrates. You don't want to be avoiding any macronutrients in general. You don't want to be avoiding eating proteins, because eating protein has so many beneficial factors to it. You don't want to be avoiding eating fats, because fats has so much that goes into it hormonally for your body, and you don't want to be avoiding carbohydrates. There's the good carbohydrates and the bad carbohydrates, right? If you stick to whole foods and non-processed foods for the majority of the time, obviously you want to make sure you're eating a balanced diet, right? It's okay to go out and have your occasional donut or whatever you want, processed food or whatever, it's okay to do that, but you want to make sure it's not a habit, that you're not eating it every other day even. You want to make sure you're keeping it as low as you can. I'm not a nutritionist, so all these things that I've learned is just through my own research. Obviously you want to make your own research and you want to make your own informed decisions, but in my opinion, you should not be cutting out carbohydrates, because it's good for you. You need carbohydrates in your diet just like any other macronutrient. Don't cut out carbs altogether. You want to make sure you're eating whole foods, whole wheats, whole grains, fruits and vegetables. Whoever says carbs are bad, they're basically saying fruits and vegetables are bad. Like I said, how idiotic is that? Don't be one of those people. Make smart, informed decisions, do your own research, and be smart about the things you do. But that concludes this video. If you like this video, you found it informative, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, click that bell icon. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I am doing online coaching. My email is going to be in the description. Follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty often, and I'll see you in the next video.